Alright, so we're back once again, and today's topic of discussion is going to be something that's kind of been rattling around in my head for quite a while. And it's the discussion about the Smolensk as a whole. Now, back when the Smolensk first came out, I think it was released around the same time as the Thunder. So you had a choice to make whether or not you wanted to go for the Thunder or you wanted to go for the Smolensk. I chose to go for the Thunder because I seen some of the YouTube videos and some of the replays and the game replays of people playing the Smolensk, and I felt as though I didn't want to be a part of something that actually kind of decreased the quality of the game overall. So I went for the Thunder first, and I actually had a lot of enjoyment playing the Thunder. It's a really fun ship. And then I started gathering up coal once again over the course of like 6 months, and then recently, a couple of days ago, I had to decide on another coal ship to get. And so I just finished grinding the Azumo, the IGMBB, and I was kind of sick of playing battleships, so I didn't want to go for the Jean Bart or something like that, or the Georgia. So I thought I may as well, kind of see for myself if the Smolensk is actually as kind of disgustingly OP as people say it is. So we're going to touch on that, and we're going to kind of discuss what I've kind of seen so far from just the 4 or 5 games I've played of this ship. So the one thing I really want to point out is that although people say like this ship's a really big pain in the ass, and I can see how it is a pain in the ass, from playing it, I don't feel all powerful. I don't feel like I'm a god amongst all these just random ships. I really don't get that impression. One thing that really sells this for me is like, usually if I'm playing a high firing light cruiser, like say something like the Minotaur, and like a battleship shows me flat broadside, like when it's turning out, I know I can get, 20 to 30k easily on that ship. I don't think I can do that on the Smolensk. Now maybe that's due to my playstyle, maybe I haven't played enough games in it, but when I shoot HE out of the ships, and maybe it's not because I haven't got high FHE on my captain skills yet, but when I shoot other battleships, I get overpins and shatters like crazy. Now you do get some fires. I haven't actually, surprisingly enough, I haven't actually got all that many fires using the Smolensk so far. Maybe it's just because I have a low sample size. But yeah, I don't know, it just seems not to be working for me all that much recently. Now again, I think this ship falls for the same crutches that the Minotaur has, because they are, regardless of what people say, these two ships, the Minotaur and the Smolensk, are more similar than people think. I mean, if you tagged HE onto the Minotaur, they're basically very similar ships, almost identical. Yeah, but that being said, you're so reliant. Like, if you take this ship for the stock, it's very low range, high detectability range, about 12 kilometers. So if any ships has radar, you're pretty much done for. It makes it very difficult positioning wise to actually play and deal like 200k, 300k damage like you see in all them YouTube videos. And that's a problem I want to tap on as a whole, like not just for the Smolensk but for other ships in general. I'd always be very wary about taking advice on what ships to play from like YouTubers who are like super unicorns. Be very careful doing that, because they play a completely different game to what either you and I play. They play at a level that the smallest of changes in a ship basically means 50k damage either way for them per game, which doesn't really apply to like the average player, And while Smolensk may seem broken on those videos where you see Flamu doing like 300k damage or 200k, 250k damage, you're just not going to get those games. Like, not even he gets those kind of type of games all that often. And the average player definitely isn't going to get those type of games. So again, this ship does come with all the crutches of or the drawbacks of a light cruiser. It's incredibly squishy. It's, high detectability range. And if a battleship so much as looks at you, you're going to get 2/3 of your HP permanently deleted. That being said though, I don't want to rattle on like this ship's terrible. It's definitely not terrible. You have so much. You have hydro, you have smoke, you have heal. You also have guns from hell. Like literally, these shells, they're like cruise missiles. Like they're literally guided onto the target. Which is what I can see makes this ship a lot of pain to play against. I don't think it's actually the damage that it does or the fact that it sets a lot of fires. I think it's just the feeling of having that many shells consistently, like just right there. I mean, you get so much to spot if you're dead, or you're gonna take at least two or 3/3 of your HP. But I think it's just more the psychological factor of having so many shells come at your ship so quickly, that it just feels so annoying and so painful to play against. And I run into this too when I play against minotaurs, is that they can rattle out these shells so quickly that it makes you feel hopeless. I mean, it makes you feel like there's no counter to this in the game. Then you get into the thunder and you load AP and then you delete those CVs or CLs in one salvo, and it doesn't feel too bad. So like, even take this game for example. I basically play this ship now as I would play the Minotaur, and honestly, I'm not a super unicorn player, but I would probably have the same damage output on the Minotaur right now that I do on the Smolensk right now. Like the HE for me, instead of getting like 3 fires from 127 hits, it doesn't feel all that significant. Like, it doesn't feel all that overbearing. Now again, as I said earlier, you have to think of this from the other player's perspective, being constantly coated in shells. It's not going to be the best of experiences. But from a purely balancing perspective, it's not all that bad, I don't think. I think the ship's in an okay spot. Maybe you could do with a little bit more tweaking. I know this is probably going to be a fairly unpopular opinion, but I really don't see all that much of a problem with it. Now that being said, I have had not a large sample size of games, and generally what happens is that I play a lot of a ship and I get so burned out by playing it that my actual skill with the ship goes down. So I don't see I think as time goes on I'll probably learn how to play the ship and maybe my average damage will go up, but I don't see it going up all that much more significantly. Definitely not more than what your average Minotaur game would.
Our team is taking the lead.
That being said, we are pretty much winning this game, which even plays more into the wheelhouse of the fact that, well, we're winning this game and we've only done 83k damage so far and we've only killed 5 of their ships. So that being said, I want to maybe I should I'll probably bring up the win rate and the average damage on this ship and compare it to other ships just to see how it compares, and because I'd be very interested to see how this ship compares relative to others of the same class. As you see the Edinburgh, the 10k Edinburgh. This should be a good example. I should be switching to AP here, obviously, but see 3k in that salvo with 10 hits effectively. Again, these shells just land perfectly wherever you put them. So you really, like, and I always keep saying this every time, is that you need 2 things to really play well in this game: positioning and aiming. And when you have ships that eliminate one of those things, they're automatically going to be considered kind of OP to an extent. I mean, with the Kremlin, your positioning doesn't really matter as long as you're like bow in. You can tank a shitload of damage. But, and the same goes for the Smolensk. If your positioning is really all that matters, because again you're playing a light cruiser and you know the guns are incredibly accurate, so you don't really have to think about aiming all that much. So again, I can see why it's being considered so strong. I think I would have drove into those torpedoes because my rudders broke if I hadn't slowed down there. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. We're going to win on the right flank. But again, look at the detection range, 11.2. That's massive. Now without the range, 20% range advantage from captain skills, I would be sitting probably with around about 13 kilometer range. So that effectively gives you like a 2 kilometer window, or maybe 14 kilometers. No, probably actually less. Because 20% of 10 kilometers would be 2 kilometers. Yes, so it's probably less, probably around 13 kilometers. That gives you a very small window to effectively do damage and to effectively get into range and not be spotted. So, yeah, you have like 2 kilometers to get smoke off, which is a really, really narrow window for a stock ship. Now again, with the buffs and everything, and captain skills and modules and stuff like that, obviously the ship's going to get a lot stronger. But again, I don't see it becoming this scary powerhouse of a ship. Maybe I'll disagree, maybe I'll not. I don't know. I get the feeling that it's a bit overblown. And considering that Puerto Rico was just recently kind of the drama of the community, I think this Smolensk kind of is now sitting in a place where I think it's just, you know, the right place for it to be. You know, it's a light cruiser. It can do a shitload of damage if, you know, the conditions align perfectly, but at the same time it's very easily punishable by, you know, a range of different ships. Particularly like CVs or battleships or even heavy cruisers can really, actually I would say cruisers especially can really mess up this ship, and they're probably the most dangerous class. And again, it being said, same as a Minotaur, it can absolutely rip apart DDs, which, you know, is to be expected from a ship like this. But with that being said, I think the game's about to end here. I think I get this kill on the Republic, but I'm not 100% sure. But again, just look at how many shatters I'm getting. You know? Like, this ship isn't... Now, I know that Republic just, it must feel horrible having that many shells rammed down his throat. But again, we're getting 40 non-pennants. You know, we're barely getting any fires. Or we're barely doing 100k damage. And this is from an average player. So, I just thought I'd give my 2 cents, you know? And I definitely don't think it's the most overpowered game. Or overpowered ship. And so, until next time.